Hi there, and welcome to today's episode. So, in today's podcast, I wanted to look back on 2022. I was chatting with my friends in the car on the way back from the supermarket, and I was talking about money and how stressed out I've been feeling about it all. And just to give you a bit of background, we've decided to overpay our mortgage. We renewed our mortgages a few years back, and we have a few more. It's a bit complicated, but long story short, we got a few mortgages, and most of them are fixed rates, so I'm not too stressed about those. But we kept a tracker because we intended on paying it quickly, so we didn't renew it as a fixed rate. And then the rate went from 189, I think, to 4.09%, and it's a very small mortgage, so it's not like a massive big deal on a monthly basis, but it's just that we just want to get it out of the way, and then the money that would go in that mortgage can be used to pay off the other mortgages. And as a result, I've been a bit obsessed about money in the last forever. Now, really about probably the last 2 or 3 years, maybe when we decided to move house. You kind of like, you can't really move house until you get more money, and for more money I got a job when Liv went to school, and so on and so on. So I've been quite obsessed about money, but particularly so the last few months. So I started looking into law of attraction and manifestation, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, so I try not to get too much detail, but I think the wording, the way it's worded, the word manifestation makes it sound very occult or religious. It's not how I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at it from the perspective that you kind of set goals, and then you let the back of your head, your subconscious, work on that. And I've registered to an app called the Inner Tribe, Law of Attraction Inner Tribe. And you basically, there's loads of like subliminals, and you can reprogram your subconscious. And I did look into that. When I was pregnant with James, I looked at hypnotherapy, and then a few years after that, when I was trying to lose weight, I looked into neuro-linguistic programming, and it did work in some level, but I think, I don't know, I kind of gave up, and I didn't really truly believe that it would work, so I think I kind of gave up and fell off the wagon, I suppose. And then if you stop listening to the reprogramming audio, then you're pretty much not doing anything. And it's really hard, because some things, I do think I was, maybe 10 years ago, I wasn't mentally ready to tackle things I'm mentally ready to tackle now. And I think as I'm approaching 40, in my head I'm like, that's it, this has to change, we need to move on, and I want things to be different. And I think when I was 30, I didn't quite feel that way. I felt like I had my whole life in front of me, and now I'm almost, well, not quite, getting closer to 40, and we've lost my granddad, and we've lost a few family members, and I see people around me losing people. I think I start looking at life a bit differently anyway, so I'm not going to ramble too much about that, but I started looking into manifestation and subliminals and things like that. And when I say the word manifestation, just think about goal setting if you don't like the word, because it still sounds weird to me. And it's maybe because I'm thinking the word manifestation from a French perspective, but I'm still struggling to say it. Like the word manifestation, just I keep saying it and it still feels strange. But I hear loads of people saying, I manifest this and I manifest that. And I think it's just one of those words that you just need to get used to it. Anyway, so I was talking to my friend in the car, and I was telling her about how stressed I am about money, and I've been trying really hard to manifest some money, but all I do is thinking about how much money we don't have. And I'm going to put a massive caveat here. We're not poor, and even if we were, everybody's different. So I'm not saying, I'm not complaining, that's what I'm trying to say. I know there's loads of people much, much worse off than us. So I'm talking from the perspective of where we are and where I'm trying to go, and I'm comparing to myself and not comparing to others. So yeah, just bear that in mind from everything I'm saying. It's not complaining, it's just I want things to improve even more for us, if that makes sense. And I think it's kind of like, sometimes I do feel guilty because I say, oh, I want this and I want that, and people are like, yeah, but like, think about all the people who don't have all those things, you have that. Yes, I completely get it. And I sometimes feel guilty for wanting more, but then at the same time, I think it's part of human nature of wanting more. And I wonder, I genuinely think if people had not wanted more throughout human history, we would not be where we are today. Nobody would have invented electricity. Nobody would have invented electric cars. There's a whole heap of things that would not have been made if some people had not thought, I want more than that. And our life is great as it is, but I want even more than that. And I am trying to detach myself from the guilt associated to it, because I am very conscious that there are a lot of people much, much worse off than we are. And that's one of the things. When we do have more, I want to share more. I do try to give to charity. I only give small amounts because that's what I can do. But trying as much as possible to donate clothes that we don't use anymore. I give clothes to friends, but also give clothes to charity. I try to donate to charity. I need to donate more for charity. The problem with charity, there's so many of them that are really all of them deserve more money. It's like, how do you pick? I find it so hard because there's so many reasons why I want to donate. I want to donate to poor people in countries where they have nothing. I was watching a documentary about Lebanon. It was heartbreaking. I want to give to them. They couldn't get paracetamol, which is such an obvious medicine in England. You can get it anywhere, and they can't even get that. It's insane. I was thinking about people in Ukraine who lost their homes. I want to donate. There's a whole heap of countries in Africa I'd like to donate to. There's England. There's people in England who can't pay for the heating. I'd like to donate to them one day. That's a bit random, and I'm not like congratulating myself for doing it, but I'm just sharing with you that I've done it because it felt right at that point to do it, and I did it. I was on a Facebook group, and a lady was really struggling. She didn't have enough money to pay for food for the rest of the month for her kids, something like that. And I said, not just me, other people also offered money. And she messaged me back and she said, oh, thank you very much, but someone already offered me. So I accepted. So she was alright, and I said, well, if you need in the future, get back in touch. And she did actually get back in touch. And as she wasn't a scammer, I felt like she was quite genuine. And she only came back to me once after that, and she never came back to me after that. And I gave her a bit of money, and it was actually more than I would have given to charity. But at that point, I just had enough in my account to be able to give her that money. And what I really liked is that she said she would pay it forward. So she would do something nice for someone else. And I'm not religious or anything, but I do believe that, kindness is a thing. And if you're nice to someone, they will be nice to someone else. So anyway, so that's a whole charity giving. So I will make a point that when we have more, I will give more to other people as well. And I know a lot of, it might seem like a trendy thing, a lot of celebrities start charities and stuff, but all these people, I'm imagining, have a genuine interest in others and sharing, because there's a point where you have that much money, you don't actually need more money. I think it was Bill Gates who was starting charities. He had a bunch of charities. I can't remember. I saw something on YouTube. I can't remember the detail. But yeah, there's a point where you don't actually need that much money. And I'm not saying we should stop people from earning money, because I think everybody should be free to do what they want. And if you want to earn more money, earn more money. But if that extra money that you earn that you don't need, you give it to someone, then I think it's great. And if you don't waste it. And there's different definition of wastage, don't get me wrong, everybody sees things differently. Again, another caveat, that whole podcast is going to be about, take what I say with a pinch of salt. You might not agree with me, but it's okay, we don't have to agree on everything. So going back to the whole money thing, I've been talking for like 9 minutes, to go back to the thing I'm meant to talk to you about at the start of that podcast. I can hear people laughing because they know I talk a lot. After that very quick chat with my friend in the car, I decided that I would look back on 2022 with you and share with you what we've achieved last year. And I think that will help me be grateful. I am grateful for things, but I think when you say it out loud, it feels different. And I'm doing gratitude every day. So every day I think about what went well in my day, what I'm grateful for, and I'm grateful for our home, and I'm grateful we have the heating, and I'm grateful we have food in the fridge, and I'm grateful my husband, my children are healthy because there's so much going on at the moment. And I'm grateful we have a car, even if we don't drive very far. And I'm grateful we were able to go to France to see my family for Christmas and all of this stuff. So I'm going to look back on 2022. So if I start at the beginning of the year, we started looking into solar panels back in January 2022 because we saw the price of electricity rising. And after Christmas, we thought, okay, we got that much money already saved. Let's get some quotes, because I gotta be honest, with solar panels, I didn't know what to expect. I had a lot of different things. So my dad in France, for his house, I don't remember how many panels it was, but a guy came and quoted him 23,000 euros, and with a government discount, which I'm doing like the speech mark sign with my fingers, a government discount of £5,000, which would make it only 80,000 euros, which is insane. It's like a whole massive mortgage of its own. And I think you even have, it's some stuff you have on contract, so you have to like commit to send back a certain amount of electricity, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Nevertheless, my dad didn't go ahead with that quote, but when he told me that, I was like, whoa, okay. So in January I called I think I called 5 or 6 in the end. I got quite a few unreliable one. I got some frustrating one who just forgot to get back to me, and then I got one that made me feel really confident straight away, and we went with him. And if you're interested in solar panels, I got a whole heap of videos on my YouTube channel. Steph made it for you. And yeah, so that was the first stage. So we first had a quote, and it turns out for 12 solar panels it was just a bit below £5,000, which is still money, but it wasn't like 18 grand and a whole mortgage to get, like I imagine it would be following my conversation with my dad. So we were quite lucky that we had some money saved. Chris had saved quite a lot from like previous bonuses and stuff. Chris is quite good at not spending. I would say he's good with money in the sense that he doesn't do the accounts. I do it. He would do it if I let him, but I like controlling the accounts. I feel like I like spending, so I like to know where I'm at with my money, so I don't get overdrawn. But yeah, Chris is good at not spending his money, so we had quite a lot of money saved, and we both had small investments here and there. So we used that money instead of getting a mortgage, and we got solar panel. If you followed my journey, you may have heard me saying we had loads of issues with the roof, and in the end we had to take a mortgage. But we had the roof fixed, and then we had the solar panels done, and then because we had to take a loan, we thought, well, let's take it was a really good rate on that loan because it was a green loan. I don't know if you heard of that, because I didn't even know it existed. I found it on the website, pure coincidence. If you're doing improvements to your house that are qualified as green, so there's a whole list on your bank's mortgage pages, and for us it was like double glazing, roof insulation, that kind of stuff, solar panels, that represented at least 50% of the amount, then you could qualify for that green loan. So the rate was 189, and we took 5 years, so it was really good. So we took a mortgage on that, but that meant that we were adding more debt onto our existing debt, which is not what we were going for at all. But that enabled us to have solar panels, a brand new roof, so when you walk up the street you can see the roof is all nice and clean, and we had a bit of concern with insulation in the loft as well. It wasn't this Christmas, I think it was the first Christmas 2 Christmases ago. Chris went to the loft and it was dripping with water, dripping with condensation. And when a solar panel installer came, he was like, oh, I'm a bit worried about your loft, like you need to look into ventilating a bit more. So when we had the roof done, the roofers we got really lucky with the roofers as well. In our unluckiness that things went a bit pear-shaped because we had to get the roof done, and it was really, really stressful. I struggle with anxiety, so it was like the most stressful 8 weeks that I had for years. in our unluckiness, we get really lucky that the roofers were really reliable. They did a really good job and they did it really quickly. And I'm also really grateful to my friend because it's her builder that she recommended, and he did a really good job as well. And so we had the roof done, we had the solar panels fitted eventually, and we got lucky as well because our solar panel installer managed to fit us in, because they are quite busy, solar panel installers, particularly this year in 2022. So we got really lucky with that. And then because we took up a loan, we had a lot of money left, so there were two options. We could have repaid the tracker mortgage, or we could redo the bathroom. And the bathroom upstairs needed redoing because there was a leak, but we didn't know at that time what it was, because everything was, the toilet cistern was kind of like, how do you say, covered. There was like a unit around it, so we could see the floor was turning black, but we couldn't tell why. And when we removed everything, we realized there was a leak between the cistern and the toilet, and it was just dripping, like maybe one drop at the time, but for the last 2 years, and probably maybe even before that. And the floorboard was starting to rot, and luckily it wasn't too much. So there's a product you can actually buy for wood, and you pour it on rotten wood, and it hardens and it strengthens the wood that's rotten, basically. So that was really cool because it means you don't have to change all the floorboards, which can be quite challenging. In our case, we had to like remove the toilet, and we removed the cistern, and we had the plumbing redone, so we could potentially have removed the floorboard if we had to, but we didn't need to. So we then did the bathroom, and again, that was kind of like we did it ourselves for most of it. So we took everything out. We had a plumber who came to fit it, like do the plumbing for us, and he fitted the bathtub and the tap on the bathtub as well, and he put all the pipes in the right place, so then we just had to connect it. And when I say we, I mean Chris, because I can carry things around, but I'm not a plumber. And then we had an electrician who came to fit the sockets in the bathroom, because in the bathroom you need to be really careful when you get sockets and stuff. It needs to be all conform if you want your house insurance to pay out if there's an issue, and also to keep your family safe. And one of my big thing with having the bathroom redone is that at first I wanted a laundry chute. So a laundry chute is it depends what kind of house you have. It can be a hole in the floor, and you put your laundry in it, and it goes downstairs. Or I think in American houses, oh, sorry about the beep in the background. In American houses, they have it in the wall, and there's like, sometimes you can get food down. It's like a little lift in the wall, and I think in American houses they have something like that. But for us, there was no space really available for that. Like if we made it in the ground, there were pipes in the middle. It was just really complicated. So we decided to bring the washing machine and the dryer and the bathroom upstairs, and obviously that cost a bit extra money, but it's something I really wanted to do. And I think it's a good example of, when you say I can't have this, and it's really hard, like I'm working on that myself, but when you say I can't have this, it's changing that mindset of thinking, how can I have it, or how can I make it work? And for a long time, Chris was like, no, you can't have the laundry chute. And I'm like, but there's got to be a way, like can we make a hole here, or can we make a hole here? And then we were trying to look at possibilities, and it just didn't quite work because it would have landed above the toilet downstairs or something. It wasn't just very practical. So the alternative was let's spend a bit of extra money and let's get it done properly, buy a plumber and an electrician, and do it in a bathroom upstairs. So we've done that. So solar panels, roof with vent, bathroom upstairs with washing machine and dryer. Then there was a whole Air France episode, which there's no positive about that, and I'm still trying to get my money back, so I will maybe get back to that later, but I don't think it's in the tone I'm trying to get for that podcast. And then we had a leak in the wall, which was also not a positive, but we got quite lucky in the sense that the plumber found the leak quite easily. So all Chris had to do was make a hole in the plasterboard, and the plumber was able to fix it quite quickly. So although it did take us a while to get it done because we didn't realize there was a leak in the wall, once we worked that out, the plumber was really efficient at fixing it. So we got quite lucky on that as well. And I keep thinking, I think that's probably it. And then the last thing is that we finished the bathroom, obviously, so that was good. Oh, as usual, always some hiccups, but it works out in the end. So, and the very last thing is that we managed to go to France for Christmas, and that was really cool because the last time we went to France for Christmas was in 2008, so that was 14 years ago. That was before the kids were born. And we'd already been to France this summer, so we've never been to France twice so close to each other. And it was really nice to see the kids. I mean, their French has not really improved that much. All James can say in French now is "I farted," which he finds hilarious. And he said it absolutely loads during the whole holiday. But it was just nice to see the family closer. Like, before that, we had not been to France for 2 years, and it felt like forever. And I think I reached that age where my grandparents are getting older. Well, my granddad's gone, and my grandma and husband are getting older. My uncles are getting older. It's quite strange. My mom's getting older, my dad's getting older, even the dog is getting older. And it was quite nice to go back so close to the last time we went. And thankfully, there was absolutely no hiccups. I mean, there was a slight delay on the airplane, but nothing that's big deal at all compared to what we suffered this summer. And I use the word suffered because we suffered from it. I probably get PTSD from it. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I genuinely I was really nervous for days before going at Christmas because I was worried things were not gonna go smoothly, and it turns out it was actually alright. So that was really good. So, looking back on 2023, when I say it out loud on record, it actually went quite well. So it's really hard to change the way you think about things, and I think it's a really long work in progress. And I know for some people it comes so easy, and I envy you people who are like that, because I wish it was that easy for me, but it isn't. And I think there's a heap of people out there who are more like me and find it really difficult. But I also want to say, if you find everything difficult right now, I mean, I've gotten a letter from the electricity company, and they're freezing the increase on the electricity and gas for January. I don't know how. I think they absorb the cost, but our bill should go from 2,500 a year to 5,000 a year, which is absolutely mad. It's bonkers. It's like 400 something pound a month. With Octopus, by the way. I don't know what other companies are like. But apparently they froze it until April, and April is going up again. And we obviously had solar panel fitted, and it cost us 10 grand for the solar panel and the battery, and we had to take a mortgage because of the way things worked out. So although we won't spend 5 grand a year on electricity, we have invested in solar panels for the long run. So it's a bit different, but we should still be better off in the long run. But I completely understand that not everybody can have solar panels for whatever reason. You might not have a house, you might live in a building, and then in that case that's just not possible, or it's just ridiculously expensive, or they're just really hard to get because everybody's trying to get solar panels and there's only a limited supply of solar panels being fitted. Oh, interesting fact, I was talking to my family in France, and they say they're going to start building, like manufacturing solar panels in France, and I just don't understand how it took that long for France, or maybe England, I don't know if they do it in England or not, but Europe, to start making their own bloody solar panels. We should have done that like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But anyway, but what I was just trying to say is, a few years back, when we lived in our older house, that was much smaller and much darker because of the orientation of the garden, and with less perks than we have in our current house. I never thought things were going to get better, and I wanted them to get better, and I was always hoping we'd get better, but I didn't know for sure they would get better. And I think that's the moral of my story today, is if I look back and if I take the time to think about my past, things now are better than they were because I keep aiming for higher. And I'm not saying, like, at the moment I'm aiming crazy high, and I'm not even going to say it to you because it might never come to fruition? No. How do you say? What's the word? It might not happen. But I think you still need to have some goals, and you need to have some aim, and whatever you feel comfortable with works. And that's one of the things I really liked about that Law of Attraction podcast I've been listening to. She said something. She said, whatever works for you. And often when I listen to people saying, oh, I've done this or I've done that, and you think, oh, I can't do that. Like, I don't know, putting yourself out there, or I don't know, there's a whole heap of things that people do, and you're like that 75 hard day challenge, which consists in no sugar, no alcohol for 75 days and exercising twice. And then I'm like, I can't do that. What she said is, do what you're comfortable with. And I think that's really, that made me feel, I know it sounds silly, but that made me feel so much better to hear someone say, you don't have to do it exactly that way. Do whatever feels good to you. And I think that would be a good thing for 2023. Do what feels good to you. You know what I mean. Don't do something crazy like spending thousands of pounds you don't have. That's not what I'm saying. But do something that feels good to you. See the people that you feel good with when you talk to, or go to the places that make you happy. Go to the forest, or go to the beach, or wherever you feel happy. Do whatever feels good to you. And I think for 2023, that would be a really good motto. I do what feels good to me. So that podcast it feels good to me. I actually really enjoy talking. It's really funny. I feel a slight sense of guilt that I like talking so much, because I'm just thinking people around me must be thinking, gosh, when is she going to stop talking? But I come from a really talkative line of women. We talk a lot. And we really enjoy it. At Christmas, like, we all sit together and we were around the table, and I don't have a specific moment in time, but we'll just talk for like I don't think it was the last night. I think it was the night before that. My mum was poorly on that day. So maybe we didn't stay up that late, but we just ended up chatting around the dining room table, and that was really nice. And we do it on phone, like WhatsApp and stuff, but it's nice to do it with each other. And I don't actually remember what we talked about, but we just talked, and that was nice, and I felt good. So here you go. To 2023, do whatever feels good. If subscribing to my podcast channel feels good, please do that, or following, whatever it says on your platform. I have a YouTube channel where I talk a lot about solar panels at the moment, but I will put that podcast on there as well, because I want to share as much as possible. And I also have an Instagram channel, Instagram page, sorry, and it's Steph Made It For You as well. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you might want to do that. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next episode. Bye!